Okay, now we're going to make the engine mount. First thing you're going to need, we're going to need some more of this thin card here. And when you make your engine mount, if you've got a flat piece of card like this, it's really not much good trying to sort of wrap it around like that, because it kinks and goes all, doesn't really sit nice and flat. So I want to do what we did on the nose cone, and that is try and shape this cardboard, try and get it into a, you know, a more natural shape, which we've got now. So the first thing is this thin bit of card, you want it to be almost exactly the same height as that rocket. That's a burnt out rocket motor that I've got there. Okay, so it needs to be the same height. And we need to make him like a little sleeve to sit in. Alright. We don't want it to wrap around too many times, so I'm going to mark it exactly where it meets up with itself there, and the same thing on the other end. This can be fairly tight, not too tight, because you need to fit some metal strips in here. Actually, I'll just maybe loosen that off a little bit more, and another mark. I'll make the other mark there. I don't think I need to draw a line for that, because I'll be pretty accurate with that cut. Okay, I can better to cut it a little bit too long than too short, I think, in this instance. And what I'll need to do, no prizes for guessing, but I'll need to some masking tape on there to hold that tube together. This is how I like to do it. Put a bit of masking tape on there. Snip these little bits off there and there. And then just nice and easy, just wraps around like that. Okay, so the motor should be able to slide in and out fairly easily, not too easily. It shouldn't just fall straight through. You wouldn't want it to just drop through, because that would be too loose, and yet you don't want to sort of have to put some sort of Vaseline around it to try and fit it in there. Righto, next thing we need to do is make something to hold that motor in there, so when it fires it doesn't try and shoot itself through, and when it fires the secondary charge it doesn't try and pop itself out. And this is what I use. I use these little bits of metal here. Okay, and I'll give you one of those when you come to make yours. Okay, so you need 2 of these strips. Be careful with them, because they're quite sharp on the edges. You could cut yourself with those. Very much like a knife. And these big heavy scissors of mine will cut through them quite nicely. Okay, need to release that. And one of these is in here. Rightio. I'll take my motor out for a second and just put it aside. So I've got a nice pointed end on this, a little bit like a spear, and I'm going to spear that through there and out the other side. Just like that. And we'll do one of those at the other end as well. And bend that back. Now, just check, make sure that the motor still fits in here. Oops, we'll try the other end. I've got the better end. There we go. Oh yeah, nice and just snug. Right, don't have to push too hard. If it was too tight, you could always cut down this masking tape here, and you could give yourself another centimetre, or sorry, another few millimetres to play with. Be quite easy to do, just to loosen it up a little bit, because it can't be too tight, because you'll never get the rocket motor out after you've fired it. Right, so I've got two ends here. This end is the that's the end that the charge will blow through to deploy the parachute, and that faces up, so that this is the direction of travel for the rocket motor. This little bit of metal here I need to cut a little bit short. Oops, where's my heavy scissors? Here they are here. I cut a little bit shorter than that, I reckon around about there. So if it's hanging out, you can see it's hanging out around about a centimetre. I'd go maybe a centimetre and a half and cut it off like so. Okay, then we need to bend him around. Oops, I've got to cut a little bit more off because I can't quite get him around the corner there. You'll see what I'm trying to do in just a sec. Okay, and then down like that, so we're making a bit of a hook shape. So when I pull that out, when I pull that motor out, you can see that the hook that holds this motor in, okay, and stops it from going any further. If I push it as hard as I can, it won't go anywhere because that hook's stopping it. Okay. Now the other end's a little bit different because this is the end that I'll need to be able to get to pull the rocket motor out. And this is how I make this end. Give it about a centimetre. Cut. Oops, better get that out of my computer. And then bend this hook over. Now, I'm glad I did that because that's what you don't do. Because now what have I done? I've covered up that hole and that's no good. So I'll bend it back a little bit and I'll cut a little bit more off it. But I still need to have enough just to be a little hook, to provide a little hook that's going to just stop my motor from pushing out. So if I was to push this way, okay, I shouldn't be able to push the motor out. So I'm pushing and see how that motor will not move because that hook's holding it. But what that's going to allow me to do when I need to get my motor out, I'm going to be able to pull that little tab like so, and I'll be able to shake my motor out. And there's a special little technique you use to, and then that motor will come out, and you could reload it with another one. And then push the little tab over, okay, and then you could fire it again. Rightio. Leaving the motor in there to do this next bit. Alright, we need to make that fit in here somehow. Okay, and that's not much good like that. You can't just glue it on the side like that because it needs to sit in the middle. So what we need to do is pad it out. And the way that I pad it out, I'll show you in my next little video.